Hi everyone, it's great to see you. Today I'm going to be planting up a hydrangea using my bag in the pot method, and I'm going to be placing some beautiful heuchera around it. So I have this wee bit giddy that I got last year. I have it in a bag that I have already nestled in to a nursery pot in here, and I've filled the rim gap with some fresh potting mix. So you can see that this hydrangea is a little off center. Looks really full if I turn the pot that way, but if I turn the pot this way, not so much. So as I am growing this out, you do want to keep this in mind of where you're placing your items. Fine if every year this is going to be the back of my pot, but I'm actually going to place this for the rest of the season so this side is facing out and getting a little more sun. So hopefully my hydrangea starts to grow that direction. However, I'm going to leave this side facing you so you can really clearly see what I'm going to be doing as I plant. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add this support. So I know that wee bit giddy the first couple years sometimes does get a little floppy. So I'm going to add this in not only just for the decorative appeal, but to support it next year. And if I leave it here on this pot, it's just so much easier. Okay, and before I put in anything else. So I just sort of spread it out the best I can. And I'm going to tuck it in, and the bottom part actually rests in the rim gap, not in the bag with the hydrangea. So that's sort of the tough part of getting it situated. And you just want to take your time and really make sure you have it where you want it, because once this is in, you don't want to have to play with it. Okay, that looks close enough. As things grow through this, if your obelisk here is not perfectly even, you're probably not really going to notice because you'll have all those green, leafy, beautiful things everywhere. Now, what I'm thinking of for the outside here are these beautiful heuchera. And you've seen me talk about the Proven Winners all dressed up Ballgown heuchera before. And when I first received these, so first of all, I couldn't find them anywhere this year. So I ended up ordering them from Garden Crossings. They sent them, and they were doing a 25% off sale when they came. They looked really yellow. They were really dry. So for almost 2 weeks now, they have sat out in this container getting some nice moisture, and you can tell that they've put on a lot of new growth here. But we do have some very sad looking leaves still. These are probably the ones that came originally that I was so worried about. So I'm not worried about them now though. We have plenty of new growth. I am going to take off any leaf that does not pass the "it looks beautiful" test. Okay, because there's still plenty of leaves here to keep this going, and this looks so much better already. Now, I have found that these do great overwintering in planters for me. So in the rim gap here, I can plant 3 of these, and the ones that I've planted before in the rim gap get huge, which is wonderful. Now, if you want to be sneaky, you can actually make this into more than one plant. You'll see that there's 2 little clusters of leaf growth here. Let me pull them apart. See how easy that is? All you have to do is either pull them apart right there or cut them apart right there and put them in your pot. And I know that after 2 or 3 years, this is going to be a huge clump where I need to do this again. So I am going to gently just do that right now. And you want to keep the leaves on. However, we're not going to panic. Oh, it fell out with its roots. I feel much better. Whew. Okay, so let me see. Oh, no, it didn't. Oh, now I'm sad. I don't think this one's going to grow. It was going so well. But we're going to see. So let's see. Looks like we have some roots here and maybe some here. Now, with heuchera, it grows from the crown. You have to have the crown of the plant, which I still have here. So I'm going to plant this and see what happens. This is going to be a great update video. Never had this happen to me before. Oops. And I already lost my microphone in the dirt. I'll be right back. This is quite an interesting video. Okay. What happened to my other Heuchera? Oh, okay. I'm back. I'm microphoned up. Okay, we're going to see what happens. I want to make sure that I know where I put this one. Good thing I'm going to have documentation on the recording. Okay, I'm going to put this one in here. Now, when you're doing this, these are very, very damp because it rained the last couple of days, and I think that contributed to it falling apart. You do want to leave a little bit of potting mix in between what you're putting in and the pot, if possible. So that's why I just took a handful of potting mix and sort of wedged that in between the pot and the plant. Okay, and we will see what happens to this baby. Now, Heuchera like to have that little crown, this little piece where all the leaves come together, sticking up above the soil. So for this one, you're going to see me put it in, and I'm going to leave that part just above the soil, and then everything else will be below the soil. And I'm going to put this one right over here. I'm leaving a little of the potting mix out by the edge. Okay, oh, this is going to be quite the experiment. So let's see if I can do this better on the next one. This looks like it has two nice, once again, divisions. So I'm going to separate them carefully. And then, actually what I'm going to do is take the soil off so we can see the roots a little bit better, because there's a chance that it's not old enough to have really two places to divide. Oh, this is fascinating. Okay, so looking at this, once again, two clumps, but this is a pretty new one, new growth, I can tell. It all connects to one root down here. Probably why I had trouble dividing the last one. Once they get big and they've set off more roots, much easier to divide. So I'm going to leave this one together rather than try to separate it. I'm going to turn it so you can see a little bit more what I'm doing. And I'm going to put this little guy right here. So I have them pretty evenly spaced. Take off any leaves I don't like. That's looking good. And now I want to come in and add in some annual fillers in here between that. So we're getting towards when we usually sort of draw the line for planting our annuals. And I have some sitting around. This is a Petunia Royal Magenta. I love the colors, but look at how when they say a petunia is getting leggy, this is what they mean. It's like, oh, it's attached in one little place and it sort of goes on, and then we end with the flowers. So I'm going to plant these, but at the end of the planting time, you're going to see me trim these back, and it's painful, but in 2 weeks, it will look much more full, much better. And that's really how you need to rejuvenation prune your annuals this time of year. It gives them the life that they're going to need to look really, really good going into September. I'm having trouble with my microphone. The magnet is sticking to the obelisk. All sorts of new things happening today. Okay. There we go. So I'm leaving that trailing over. The other thing I'm putting in here is a fan flower. So this is Whirlwind Pink. And once again, looking very, very leggy. So we're going to trim these all back. But don't worry, when you get an update on this planter, you'll be like, wow, they came back so nice. Sometimes you just have to be a little ruthless. Not a lot, just a little. Okay, let's see what we can do here. We're gonna put this in. This is a nice bright royal magenta color that I think looks really good with Wee Bit Giddy. And then that nice light pink for the fan flower is just such a good complement to that. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I mean, what can you say? It looks a little straggly at the moment, but that is going to be all fine. It is so humid out here. I bet we have thunderstorms this afternoon, which actually saves a lot of watering time, so I can't complain about that. We're supposed to have quite the heat wave here for the next few days, going up into the 90s, and we really haven't had that much heat, so it wouldn't surprise me a lot of our annuals really take off in this time, especially those like the pentas and the heliotrope that really love that hot weather. I think this is going to be great for them. Okay, this is looking really good. I have some of my Biotone starter fertilizer. And you know, this time of year, now that we are to July, of course, the new things that I'm planting, I do sprinkle some of the Biotone in. But this is also the time of year that I start thinking, okay, what needs a little bit more fertilizer to get them through the year? Usually I'm a May and July fertilizer person. Is that correct English? Fertilizer person. But this will just sink down. So I wouldn't use the Biotone again, but I might use plant tone, or, you know, you use bulb tone, you can use ornamental trees tone. There's a whole bunch of different ones. Use whatever plant it is. Plant tone is probably your safest. Look at how nice and full that looks. So I love the color of these Heuchera. They have that beautiful lemony color. And then I love the trailing habit of the others, but now is the time where we do the tough cuts. So you don't have to be really careful about this. You're going to take the annual in your hand and you're literally going to snip it all off. Yes, and then you cry a little bit, but not too much, because you know that this is for the good of the flower. Think of it like, I don't know, when your kids learn a hard lesson and you feel bad, but you know they're going to be that much stronger for it. And that is exactly how it is with our annuals. We want them to look their best. And come September, my annuals here are still doing great. I'd love to know how long your annuals last for you. What are you doing to push them through into the fall, into the growing season as long as you can? So, yep. That's sad. Those are pretty little flowers. Put them in a little vase if you want. But this is going to be so much better. So let's see, what did we do today? We got our Wee Bit Giddy in the bag, in the pot here. We have some perennials that this year we're just going to see how they do, especially the one that I tried to divide where it did not go very smoothly. Sometimes that happens with any perennial you're trying to divide. Your hostas, your Heuchera, your daylily. Even if you lose a part of it, once they get to a certain size, you really do need to divide them so that they keep doing the best growth, having the best growth that they can. So if you lose a little part along the way, just, you know, you count it as that happens and you carry on. You're doing the right thing for the plant. I'll keep you posted on how all of these things go. I'll give you an update on my trimmed annuals here, on the Heuchera, all of them, on how they end up doing. And hopefully we can get this hydrangea to even itself out a bit too. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.